How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all revved up, get into some creativity. It's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Levi Hopkins. And if you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. I love his work. I think he's a wonderful talent. I really love his digital illustration. I feel like he uses the medium to really a new extent and really takes advantages of the things that it allows you to do even more. Like a piece like this would be very hard, I think, to get in any sort of, I believe it's digital. I'd be really shocked if it wasn't. I'm pretty sure most of his stuff is. But these nice brush strokes that have like a transparency over the piece that just blend so well and give this ethereal feel to it that kind of blend with the lighting as well are just so wonderful. I really love that, and I feel like it'd be really difficult to get that same sort of almost cut off effect of these as they kind of blend throughout. I just really love it when people utilize the medium. I also love it when they almost trick you and use a medium and it mimics another medium too. I think that's a really interesting way to do things too. But I think he worked on Guild Wars 2, which I'm a big fan of as well. I don't get a chance to play games very much anymore, but I think the art style in that game is just terrific and wonderful. I mean, check out this piece. This one I thought was great. I love the tiered effect in here. It really gives it a great sense of depth. You've got this first close-up plane, then you've got a middle ground, probably like a second middle. I don't know if that would be exactly on that same plane. And then this far one, and you get this great sense of a tiered depth in there, and a really push towards like a vanishing point with everything as well. It's just a really wonderful piece. He's got such an imaginative mind. I'd love to watch his process for sure. But I did want to share a quote that I was able to find from him, because I think like I said, I think he's got a and I'm pretty sure he hasn't been on the scene for too long either, so I'm excited to see where he goes next with more of his work too, because I think his stuff is just phenomenal. And even though we have these masters of digital art that are around now, the medium is really only maybe 10 years old really, to any sort of degree where people can use like a Cintiq where you can actually draw on a tablet. So I can't wait to see where this medium goes, and I feel like he's really at a forefront of utilizing the medium to its great extent, and not necessarily trying to just use it to copy a different medium, but really play up the beautifulness of it, because you can see the kind of striations of the digital line in here, which I really dig. But he said, try to make things believable, fantastical, and different at the same time. I love that quote, because you have believable. You want everyone to associate it with something they've seen before and buy into the concept. You want it to be fantastical, so it kind of blows their mind. And then you want it to be something different and something new that sparks a new sense of creativity in others as well. So let's go ahead and get into some animation. We're getting towards the end of what we're going to be working on this skirmish shot for. And today, kind of crazy real life day, so I'm glad I kind of mentioned that I might do this. I'm going to add some more background characters. We can just play around with some posing, play around with some overall composition and everything throughout. And something a little more lightweight, just kind of hang out a little bit today and play around with doing that. So let's go ahead and save our file real quick. Before we get in there, we are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. For more information on that, check out the links in the description below. And we're also using the Goon rig from the How to Cheat in Maya series, which is a wonderful book. Pick it up, and the rig I think is just top notch. I really think for the cost of entry, for getting this rig, you're getting a great value for it, and it's really a fun one to animate, and it kind of keeps you honest. I think with animating too, you can't really break too many rules, or you get a lot of knee pops and elbow pops and everything too, so you gotta keep on top of your body mechanics. So let's go ahead and import another. Actually, before we do that, I'm gonna kind of think through this with you guys here. pretty sure I want to have some sort of a prop here, like maybe a rock or kind of a mountain or something that we could bring in here. I wouldn't mind getting some drapery. Another thing that I was thinking too is we could frame our shot a little bit more by maybe having a tree in the close ground here to camera. So grab something like this, and we'll go ahead and let's see if we can do it. Object mode here. There we go. And then we can paste another one here and bring it towards us. Let's go. I think I have a camera locked off that I really want to use, which would be this one. So again, it'd just be something like this. And we'll go ahead and scale it up a little bit more. Move it over here just to help frame our shot a little bit more and give that extra sense of depth and everything to it here. Bring it up a little bit, rotate it over, up here, maybe a little bit further down, just so we kind of get an edge here to help frame our shot. And then we'll do another one here. Sometimes the copy doesn't work right away here. 1 second. Okay, there we go. And should be able to paste another one here. And we'll go to the other side and go back to perspective 4 that we'll be looking through and move that over a little bit. Up. Again, we're just kind of trying to frame our shot a little bit more. And I'm not going to bother creating a bunch more props or a bunch more trees here. We'll just kind of manipulate this one that we have a little bit more. Again, just to help kind of frame our shot a little bit more and add an extra sense of depth to everything here. Maybe raise it up a little bit more and rotate it maybe back a little bit. And again, this is just playing to camera. It's not going to look beautiful from pretty much any other perspective for this thing, but it's just to add that sense of kind of framing our shot a little bit more. And let's do a quick play blast and just see how it frames itself a little bit better. Okay, and again, this isn't a full play blast. It's just kind of to see how our framing works here. Yeah, I kind of like that, and rather than have it fully connected, having a little break there. So it kind of gives us that sense of depth. Another thing I'm going to do, I think I'm going to stretch this ground layer out a little bit more here too, and we'll try to add another sense of background behind here as well. So just go ahead and save our file while we're thinking about it here. Let me see if we're still recording there. All right. Okay, and switch back to other camera we were working with here. So perspective 4 is going to be our main shot cam. So we're going to grab this ground layer here and scale it over in Z, so it actually goes through here, and we don't have that kind of flatten off there. Back to 4, make sure that still works there. Okay, go back to 1 here, and I don't want this to be so much like that. So again, this is just pretty much the same tree. We've just done some rescaling of it and everything too. So let's go ahead and see if we can copy another one here and add some to the background. Actually, let's go ahead and create a kind of a mountain range or something. So let's do create a polygon primitive. Let's do a cube to start with here. Bring that over, and we'll we'll assign a new material onto there. Let's do a Lambert. And let's see what color we want that to be. A little bit of brown in there. Look in there. It's a little too red. Try and keep the color palette still kind of muted here. Go back to perspective 4. Let's see where we want to place this here. Now we're also going to need to scale this up in Y. Make sure we delete any extraneous keys on those backgrounds so they're not moving around. Delete those. Okay. And let's go back to perspective 1, or the first one here. And this will just give us a greater sense of depth. So we'll have that kind of like we were looking at in Levi Hopkins' work. We have a foreground, the main place that we have, and then we're going to have some background here. And let's stretch this out a little bit further. Delete that. So I'll scale that back in Z a little bit more. So that way we have kind of that sense of depth here. Now let's manipulate this a little bit more, rotate it here, turn it a little bit. Let's see, go back to perspective 4 there, because this is the main shot that I want to frame up here, really, is this one. So this is what we're going to play off of. Just getting this to look a little bit nicer. And do something like that, but then we'll frame it in a little bit more. Okay, and go back to our original perspective here. And let's look faces, edit mesh, let's extrude that and bring that over a little bit, down, edit mesh, and actually let's minimize it a little bit more, down here, and edit mesh, extrude again, bring that over, down there. Again, we're just kind of making a little rock wall kind of thing, just so it has like a little bit of a mountainish range or something in the background. And go ahead and extrude that again, bring that over, down, minimize it a little bit more. Yeah, let's see how that again looks to camera. Yeah, it's a little bit, go back to object mode here, and I'll go ahead and push that back here. And probably add, let's go back to perspective again. I'm going to copy that and paste another one. Move that here, bring that down, rotate it a little bit over here, just so it has kind of a sense of depth to it. Over a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and creating our backdrop a little bit more. Okay, and let's look through and see how that looks here, and we'll do a quick play blast again. So let's see how that feels just from the actual camera. Alright, it's okay, but I think maybe I'll bring this up and in a little bit more just to completely kind of frame it a little bit better. So let's try that instead, because I feel like it blends into this mountain area a little too much. So we could do a couple of things. We could, okay, you can stop doing that. Change the color of it more so that it wouldn't do that. But I want to still keep a pretty minimal color palette here. Yeah, so I think I'll move this up a little bit more and just try and get a little bit more of it in to camera. So let's do that. So I'll do here. I'll set that minus 50 because we're going to have to do a couple of play blasts just to see how it actually feels here. Move it closer. Something more like that. Maybe we'll even let it kind of hide behind there a little bit more too. Add that sense of depth. Okay, we did zoom out just a little bit and then tweak this angle because it wasn't really helping us too much there. So I think I want to do maybe a cliff edge. Maybe we'll just leave that. It's already pretty busy anyways, and we might push this back a little bit further there too. Okay, so I'll switch back to our camera here, and I'll grab all of these things there, and no, or not, and we'll just push them back a little bit more. And let's look through here, see if that feels a little better. So there's a little more distance between there. And again, want to make it just so that it frames this last ending shot a little bit better here. And maybe we'll push that back a little bit more there too. Scale it up in Y and over in X. There. And let's do a quick play blast and see if that still works through here, because it looks like it's all working here. Alright, I think we've got a sense of depth, and I think our composition's a little bit better, a little more framed in nicely. We got kind of this look through the tree, or it would almost be even like a cave at this point too, just with that outlook. So I think that frames it a little bit better. Now let's add a couple more characters and some more props and everything too. So let's go back to our perspective and we'll save off our file one more time. Now one thing we are missing is we're cutting off that other character that we had over there. So let's see if we could maybe have him. Still want to keep a lot of this area clean through there. So maybe we could have him just be on the edge here. Would that be interesting? Try that. Or we could push him back somewhere around there. Yeah, I think that might be a better spot for him. Okay, so let's go back to our perspective here and turn, what one is it, 10? Show our nerve curves, because we want to move this character. Everything pretty much over here. And we can actually push it even back further too to keep our sense of depth and everything to the shot a little bit more. Let's look back through there. And now I want to make sure it's over a little bit more because we've got some action points going over here when it gets pushed over, so I don't want to intersect with that. I just want to keep that pretty clean going through there. So maybe even over there and back. Yeah, I think that'll work. Let's kind of frame through it and make sure that, like I said, around this point, yeah, it's not going to be intersecting through there. And I think we could have a character off over here And I was thinking about throwing another one up in the tree, but like up here, so that might be interesting. Yeah, let's try that. So get another character in here. Okay, so we're just going to import another one. I just copied that file and named it 5 here, and we're going to import that one. So I'll select that and hit import. Okay, and we've got them imported. So switch over to our original perspective here just for a second so I can grab that, and then back to our main camera that we're shooting from. Should be perspective 4. And we'll kind of roughly place him where we want him, which is going to be, I think, up on that little flat there. And up higher, over, and up. So see, we've got this nice sense of depth here. I might pull this character forward a little bit more. And then let's pose him over there. So go panels, go back to perspective 1. And one thing I kind of wanted to do with this guy is have like an axe chop through him or something. So have him kind of seated a little bit here. Posing is always fun. I like doing that. So you can get real goofy. You don't have to work around how it's going to play when you're animating it, and just come up with a real fun pose. And like I said, kind of have him hunched over a little bit here. Hips are actually seated in the ground there. Over into the side a little bit. We lost that foot there for a second. So let's make sure we get that foot out and up. Bring that back down a little bit more. Knee twist in there. Rotate those hips a little bit more. Foot over and out. Let's kind of see just roughly if that fits in our layout here. Something like that. We'll still continue pushing it, but I think that'll work. Up, over. Gotta worry big time about silhouette here because this is far away, so we want to try and get a good clean silhouette where we can here. Get that arm down. Up here, that rotate up there, this up. Tilt the hips a little bit more. Shoulder back here. Get that up. Over here. Down. push that shoulder up a little bit more, I think. Really stretch it. And rotate that arm over. Play that down more. This up, over. And get that head up a little bit. More here. Flop it over a little bit. That might be a little too much. Okay, and let's do some fingers here. Try and get that hand to feel like it's really laying there. That little one up there. Move it over. I'm still trying to go a little bit quickly though, but still do some fun poses. Because I want to do at least, what are we looking at for time? We're about halfway. At least a couple more of these guys, and I'd like to do a couple real quick props like a spear or an axe sticking out of one or something, just to mix it up a little bit more. Trying to make sure those aren't intersecting through the plane too much though. Get that thumb out a little bit more. Let's drop the shoulder down and bring that up a little bit more there. Which it might need to. And let's go ahead and actually just look at this from our perspective we're going to use to see if it reads okay. Turn our nerve curves off so we can kind of see it here. I don't know if it does or not there. Get that knee twist going here. Switch back to our other perspective. Bring that down a little bit more. Just keep tweaking it till it reads pretty good from the angle we're going from. Switch back to perspective 4 here. Let's throw the head backwards instead of forward. Feels like he's kind of just slouching and hanging around there rather than dead. So let's throw the head back here. Over. Foot down. Turn the knee. Bring the hip down a little bit. this a little bit more. A little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, and look back at our other perspective. Is that reading okay? It's all right. It's not that great of a pose, though. Let's switch it then. Alright, so we'll go with a different idea because I don't think that's working very well. So let's hang him over the side here a little bit. Really want to show off that like he's not just relaxing, he's dead. I feel like that's not really that successful with what we were doing before. So let's zero out the head again. Get those hips down here. Put that down. Okay. And this should be able to be read a little bit more easily, I think. Okay, we'll just kind of zero some stuff out here. Back over. And try and rest it on the ground plane there. And bring that there over. Alright, let's just see from that angle if that works a little bit better. Alright, move that over and a little bit more like this. Yeah. Okay, we gotta still tweak this, but it's working a little bit better. I can already tell. Now he looks, doesn't look, no confusing him for relaxing there, that's for sure. And if we can throw some sort of weapon through his back to really accentuate the dead factor, if that's a word, or if that's a phrase that people use, the dead factor. Probably an awful game show. People would probably still watch it though. Bring that down. Bring that over, down here. And bring that foot over there, down here, over there. And again, try and rest that foot a little bit more on the ground. Get that hip down. Chest over there. Okay, and again, let's just look at it from here, see where we want a little bit more. Something like that works. Get that knee out of there. Try and do that, and we'll retweak the arms back. Maybe the shoulder here. thumb over. Put that down. Bring my little finger in. Get a little bit of a gap between those two here. Get that thumb out here. Little bit of bend in these fingers there. And again, a little bit of bend in these fingers. They don't feel so rigid there. Just keep tweaking that a little bit more until it feels a little more right. Okay, it's a little more interesting. And let's go and look at it again through our perspective here. Still feels like that arm is a little cut through. It's kind of clipping through that. So let's try and get it out a little bit more. Right, something like that. And then let's go ahead and throw a spear through his back. So go ahead and create polygon primitive cylinder, just something real quick. We're going to put that over there, I guess. That's fine. Down and up. And make it a lot skinnier. And a lot taller. And skinnier again through there. And bring that through there. Over a little bit more. Okay. And let's look at the faces here. Just grab the end and taper that in a little bit more. And middle, expand that out a little bit. And let's see, mesh, insert edge loop tool. Okay, go back to faces. Expand that a little bit more. Bring that in. Make sure we're grabbing all of it here. Which we're not. For some reason we're missing the last couple pieces there. And again, we just want to try and grab this portion. Get a little bit more. It'd probably be easier to make this in another window and then import it in, but whatever. We'll just go with what we got. create a we want to do it. Create another. Just do it this way. A sphere here. Oh, there we go. Create polygon primitives. Let's do a sphere. And we'll bring that down a little bit more, just so it has a little bit more of a style to it, so it doesn't look completely just like a stick. Bring through there a little bit, over, just kind of try and center it a little bit more. And go back to object mode, and then we want to go change the color here of this guy. Sorry, cough switch. Get the knee out there. So we'll go into hyper shade. We got this one, and I think we'll make him another lighter army, just because I think he'll show up a little bit better on against that mountain versus one of the darker army units here. And this thing we'll want to assign a new material to. Put a Lambert on there. Make it a little bit darker. Maybe add. Let's see. I wanted to try and stick out a little bit more. It's one of the reasons why I put this thing on there, so that it would have more bits to show here. And we'll paste a couple more there. Okay, and we'll go ahead and look through our perspective window, see if he's coming there. Okay, yeah, that'll work there. And I wanted to add another one. What did I say, up top here? Or should we add another one? Let's see. Go back to the beginning and see. No, okay. I was just thinking, did we not have enough negative space in between the character from the beginning? But that's fine. Yeah, let's throw one more up here. So let's go ahead and import him in there. Okay, so the kind of argument against doing that would be that it would kind of feel like a center focus if I put another character up here. I feel like this one's off enough to the side that it feels more propish. The way we have this framed up, if we put a character here, it would almost feel like that would be the focus of our shot. So maybe we will try to put another character over here in this area there, because I'd like to do one more and do one of the darker army ones over here, just so that we don't have all light on one side and all dark on the other side. So let's try that. We'll import another character in here. Alright, so we just went File, Import, copied that file and renamed it 6, and we'll import that in, and that'll give us one more character. And again, we want to try to put it right about here, I think is where I want to do that. So let's go back to our perspective. And I think this guy is going to be another one that's kind of impaled. I was thinking a big axe or a big sword that he's laying on here. So let's kind of see where we want to place that just in our overall composition. I think right about there would work. And we'd want to have it be sort of following with the flow here. We'd have that flow there, which with the end of it would kind of lead the eye through there, right? And same with this would lead it through there, so you'd have this nice flow throughout, kind of a wave that's about where we'll want it. And let's go back to our perspective here. I'll go ahead and create a polygon primitives. Let's do a cube. What should we do? I don't think an axe would work, but like another spear. I don't want to do another spear necessarily. So maybe kind of like a pike or something. That might work. So let's do a cylinder again. Bring that up and bring that over through here. Kind of angle it a little bit. And so it's kind of in that vein, in a little bit more. Let's see how it feels through over here. I think it would need to be more forward a little bit. This, again, we'll have to flop them over a little bit, and we'll create like a tip of that spear over here. So let's switch back to our perspective again. Move that over, and I think it's still a little too fat, so maybe a little bit thinner, a little bit taller. And we'll create a polygon primitives, a cube here. Again, these are just real quick. They're nothing super exciting as far as modeling goes, but just something that does the job here. And let's look at the face. Bring that in. Actually, before we do that, let's go edit mesh, insert edge loop tool, grab one there, and one there. And then go to faces and bring this one in here, over, up a little bit more, go to edges, bring that over so it's nice and sharp. And let's go edit mesh, insert edge loop tool again, we'll put one. Faces, there, edit mesh, extrude, try it again, extrude, bring that up, over here, we'll rotate it this way, that face down, there, over, smaller, over, rotate it a little bit. Oh, come on. Go. And bring this in, rotate that a little bit. Over. And we'll squeeze this in a little bit more. Extrude that again, up, over, just trying to come up with an interesting pike head at the top here. Bring that over here, bring that down a little bit more. Object mode, faces. Edit mesh, extrude, bring that down. Bring all of these over a little bit more. Switch back to object mode, move that up a little bit over here. Faces. Over. Let's try and make that feel a little more smooth here. Again, remember this is real quick, nothing too fancy here. And bring that in a little bit. This out. And bring that over. Smaller, so it kind of tapers off a little bit, maybe just at the bottom. So we have kind of a pike head there. It's not perfect, but it should work okay. Let's go ahead and extrude again. Bring that down and make that a little bit bigger. And extrude that one more time. Extrude it one more time here. Okay. Now we'll go back to object mode and we'll have to figure out the size we need for everything here. Let's first get those rotates straighter. Bring that up, over. We gotta figure out what angle we want to do this from. Bring that down a little bit more. I'd actually have to make that a little bit bigger. Still. Okay, and let's go back and look through our original perspective here. We'll go ahead and rotate that. And parent those two together. This, so it's through there, maybe a little bit lower here. And we'll assign a new material to that, put a Lambert on there. I'll go ahead and redo that. Material, throw Lambert on there. Yeah, we might need to make that a little bit lighter here. And some new material that. Lambert on there too. You know what, I'm going to take a couple steps back to before we parented them together. So I'll assign a new material on there. We'll do their Lamberts on there first. back to regular perspective for some reason. Looking at far away is bugging me out here. So Lambert 12 here. Let's lighten that up a little bit more. This one. Move that over. Let's tweak it here. Get the right angle from our perspective window. I think we'll have it be a little bit shinier. Okay, and then let's go to our Goon rig character, and we want him to be another one of the right side army. Okay, and let's get a better pose on him. Okay, let's go ahead and save our file while we're at it. And how are we doing on time? Oh, we're a little bit over, but let's finish up this pose and then we'll call that for today. I think we added some more interesting things to our layout and make the shot feel a little more interesting here. So I think it was worthwhile. Wait for that to finish saving off here. And let's try and pose this guy up a little bit more. Feet, drop down. We might need to do more curvature here, or we could just do it on the butt. And drop these arms. So they're actually feel like they're getting affected by gravity. Get that shoulder. Drop it down. Get that shoulder. Drop it down. Foot over a little bit more. Hang down a little bit lower. Let's see from our perspective how that reads. It's dragging a little bit more. Get the thumb down. Get those fingers all bent up a little bit. interesting hand pose there if we can. Tweak that in a little bit there. And again, we'll kind of curl up the fingers just a little bit. Tweak it just a little bit more this way. Alright, and let's look back at our perspective window and see how that feels. Yeah, that feels a little better. Try and get a silhouette that's readable through there. Okay. I think that works. Let's do a play blast and just see how everything reads if we're still getting enough negative space in between stuff. Alright, I think that works okay. Still some stuff that we could tweak up, but I think overall the layout's a little more interesting than we had before. So let's take a look back at where we started. We're looking at the beautiful work of Levi Hopkins, and he said, try to make things believable, fantastical, and different at the same time. I think it's a great way to approach the creative process, is to make things relevant to your audience so that they can invite them to believe in your stuff, so have it rooted in something that they're familiar with, or that they know, or that they can bite into fairly easily. Make it fantastical, add that sense of whimsy, that sense of wonder, that sense of creativity that just sparks imagination, and then make it different. So make it so that they're going to remember it because it's something they've never seen before. So it'll pause and make them think about it later on. And I think those are great keys to keep in mind whenever you're making something. So thanks for hanging out with me. A little bit of a different process today, but I think it's fun. We're getting to push our shot a little bit more and kind of come up with some different ideas and some layout stuff. I like layout. It's always fun. A little more of the illustrative side of animation, in my view. So thanks for hanging out with me. I love you guys lots. I hope you carved out some time in your day towards working on your own dreams and taking another step in your journey towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about. And thanks for hanging out with me and for sharing some time together. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes, and I think that'll wrap it up for today. Probably spend one more day on this shot. You could definitely spend a bunch more time. There's stuff that I still would like to tweak and push, but I think we've run our course. I don't know if I want to go past 20 parts on just on video and stuff. So I'll probably, whatever else I'd want to do with this shot, I'd just do here or there, just little tweaks. But yep, that'll wrap it up because I'm getting rambly. You guys are awesome. Keep being awesome, and we will see you for some more animation, some more imagination, some more creativity, just some more fun and working on our dreams together. As soon as I can find that button over here tomorrow.